Why, hi there, I'm Ron Chuckett, and welcome to a not-so-happy recap tonight on the DoDCast. I'm sorry that we brought in Drew Douglas for his first post-game in such horrible circumstances, but that's the way life is. How are you, Drew?
I'm doing well. Would have been better with a win, but you can't win
Always
them all.
better with a win, but, the bullpen didn't see things that way, and Gio Gonzalez stumbled through 116 pitches like a dad in the dark in the hallway, stepping on Legos, just one painful pitch after another. Your thoughts on this one? This one really stings.
Yeah, it really hurts to lose another game late, and the bullpen's definitely struggling a lot. But I don't know. I thought Matt Grace did a decent job coming in, getting Nick Markakis late in the game. And then Kelly, it was ugly, but, man, he got out of it without giving up a run.
So he's done for the series, though, don't you think? He went 20-some-odd pitches yesterday. We'll get to his totals in a minute today. Obviously, he's no longer the closer.
Yeah, he was warming in the 6th, I believe, and came in the 7th. And so, yeah, I think the closer's job is definitely Coda's, at least for now.
Who knows? No one seems to know, but I would agree with that. Here are the totals tonight. Atlanta, 7 runs on 12 hits and an error. Washington, that error being the two-base and change error that led to some Washington runs early. 4 runs and 8 hits and no errors for the Nats, who followed 25-16. It's still a 7-game lead over Atlanta. No reason to panic quite yet. Vizcaíno with the win. He goes to 2-1 on the year. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the first name. Eddie Romero with a loss, 2-2 on the year. Kurt Suzuki with a big bomb to really just kind of put the game away. And Jim Johnson, Johnson with the save, his 7th of the year. Let's see. Michael Taylor had 2 hits tonight. He's on a 7-game hitting streak. That's exciting. That's about the only exciting thing.
Well, he had the nice play in center field also to throw Dansby Swanson at the plate, which I thought that was really questionable to send him in that situation.
Oh, my goodness. He was out by 20 feet. What would you do that for?
And if he stays on third, there's only 1 out. So all you got to do is pretty much put the ball in play, and he scores easily.
Right. No, exactly right. And that ball just wasn't hit very deep at all. Taylor, we've never questioned Taylor's defense. His offense we've questioned, but not as of late. His average is actually up to 279 now, and the OPS is 768.
Yeah, he's gotten hot. He still has some at-bats where it's hard to watch, but it's definitely a big improvement from what we've seen in previous seasons.
Can't be any harder to watch than what we saw on the mound tonight. In runners and risky situations, the Nats go 2 for 8 tonight. They strand 7 extra base hits. We had a few. Taylor with his 5th double of the year off of R.A. Dickey. Well, 5th double of the year. This one was off R.A. Dickey. Matt Wieters with his 7th double of the year. He continues to haunt Atlanta pitching. Of course, he did play for Georgia Tech in college. He's familiar with Atlanta. And Daniel hits Murphy. He had a home run, a solo shot off of Dickey in the 4th, and then his 12th double of the year. His swing looks good. His defense doesn't, but his swing looks pretty good. And, of course, Trey Turner with his 9th stolen base of the year. Should have gone earlier. There was a situation earlier in the game where Jason Worth had one of those long, drawn-out at-bats, and he has one of those every game. That Turner really, you should hit and run with that. Worth knows where to look for pitches. I mean, you got to put more pressure on these pitchers, and they don't do it. They haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, it's funny, too, with Davey Lopes at first base, with being the first base coach, and Dusty Baker, the manager, you'd think the team would want to be more aggressive on the base paths. And then with a guy like Turner at the top of the lineup and Jason Worth, who, nice veteran, he puts together great at-bats consistently.
Beautiful.
It should be relatively easy to get into good running situations, but they're just not as aggressive as I'd like to see them, at least.
Lopes was a terror on the bases.
Mm-hmm.
He played forever, too. All right, here's the pitching lines tonight. Gio Gonzalez, 5 2/3 innings of root canal-inducing baseball, 9 hits, 4 runs, all earned. He walked 3, struck out 5, gave up 2 homers. You know what his ERA is now? It's still 2.86. Matt Grace, 1/3 of an inning and a walk. No one pitched a clean inning tonight. Nobody. Sean Kelly, an inning, a hit. He walked 2 and struck out 3. He pitched 2 days in a row. We've probably seen them all we're going to see of this weekend. And as Drew said, he's not the closer anymore. It was, as we said earlier, he was out warming up in the 6th inning, for goodness sakes. Andy Romero takes a loss. It's kind of hard to say whether it was hard or a tough one or not. 1 inning, 2 hits, 3 runs, all earned, a walk, a strikeout. That's a typical Romero night, isn't it? And a home run. Pitches, somehow Gio Gonzalez threw 72 pitches and 72 strikes and 116 pitches. Grace threw 6 pitches, 4 strikes. Here's where it gets dicey. Kelly, 31 pitches, 17 strikes, and Romero, 15 strikes and 9 balls for his 24 pitches. Ricky was talking about during the game with me, no one pitches with any urgency, let alone, doesn't throw any strikes. But no one ever pitches with any urgency right now for the Nats. It's all just hold the ball, and then deliver. And it's kind of hard to win. I mean, this one took 3 hours and 32 minutes to play. It's a 7:30 start, so we're all kind of grumpy to begin with anyway. But my goodness, it's 11:15. After another one of these long games. I mean, they really have done themselves no favors.
Yeah, I know. A couple weeks ago, I haven't seen the most recent numbers, but Blake Trinan was one of the slowest relievers in the whole major leagues for his time in between pitches. And I think all the struggles, these guys are all losing their confidence and all just slowing down on the mound all together as a unit.
Yeah, as far as Dusty Baker is concerned, Ricky put this in the chat earlier. How the bullpen came out of the Pirate series, and he said not good, and he was particularly upset they let a team score. Team outscore the Nats in 3 games. This is why you kind of, when you talk about trades a bit, Drew, it's not just one position that needs to be filled. There's really, how do you get a game to a closer?
Yeah, they really don't have many options just to get it to the closer. The closer is a big issue right now, but just getting it to there has also proven to be a big issue. So they just don't have a lot of great options out in the pen right now.
No, not at all. All right, so let's take a look at what's going on in the live chat. Chris Lacey, who will be on with me tomorrow evening, I'm going to guess around 7 o'clock, but probably sometime before midnight with the 4 o'clock start, says, should Rizzo make a move for a bullpen fix or wait until the trade deadline? I think we just kind of touched on that a little bit. He has to do something, but when do you do it? I mean, are you more desperate now or in July? What do you think the cheaper price is going to be? I think you kind of, if you do it now, I think you get raked over the coals by whatever team you decide to go with.
Yeah, I think the prices will definitely decrease in July. And if you look at the division, it's a really weak division. Their main competition is the Mets, who just won tonight for the first time in like 8 games.
Right.
So you can make the playoffs with a weak bullpen. I think you wait till July and then definitely address it then.
I think you need to wait to see what other needs you need to fill. When Adam Eaton went down, I thought I thought there would be a need for a center fielder, but Michael A. Taylor has certainly done well enough on defense, and his offense has come around. I wouldn't do that right now, So let's see what it is. Still, somebody could do something. And the Tooth Fairy could come and give me some money too. Let's see. Ricky in the chat says not enough aggressiveness on the bases this year, relying too much on Harper and Zim to hit home runs. And when they do get aggressive, they kind of get silly with it. I mean, it's Jason Worth getting caught stealing. You don't want Jason Worth being caught stealing. Ricky and I have talked about this before. A lot of this goes back to Turner. I mean, he's on pace for, if I do my math right, 36 stolen bases this year. But he really should be, in line for 60 and 70. And Rendon has a couple this month, but again, with the walks, he should be moving along more. I agree with Ricky there, don't you?
Yeah, I definitely agree. But I also think that a little bit of an issue right now is that Turner's slumping and he's not getting on base as much as he'd like. So there's not as many opportunities to steal bases.
he needs to learn to take pitches. I mean, he needs to, pay attention to what Jason Worth is doing behind him and not be so anxious. Let's see. Lots of stuff in the chat tonight. Weird line by Grace. 6 pitches, 4 strikes, but still walked 1. Plus, please no more Chapman comparisons for Romero, Dusty. That's Ricky. Yeah, you can't compare Romero to Chapman. I mean, they throw just as hard, but Chapman knows where his pitches are going. And as I've said before, Romero is like a knuckleballer. You just don't know where his pitches are going to go. He doesn't. Neither does anyone else. Judo Joker says Max pitches with urgency. Yes, you're absolutely right. And so does Strasburg to a degree. But those are the only 2 on the staff. Roark just nibbles like you wouldn't believe. Gio's curveball looked all right tonight. But still, hold the ball. And no one in the pen throws with any urgency whatsoever. Let's see. Chris says Romero has the stuff to be an elite reliever, but consistency has been a problem for him. He's so raw, Chris, that ideally he could also use some time in the minors, but that's just not going to happen. So he's got to figure it out there. He got done. Remember a couple games ago for Romero? Maybe it was last week. He had a balk call against him, and that really threw him off. It was a game that he didn't pitch well after. I'm not sure if they hung on and won or if that was one of his losses. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about, but yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't remember exactly which game that was.
Is Robles untouchable in any deal?
I think he is, because if you're thinking you're going to lose Bryce Harper, you still want to have talent and keep the window to win open. So I think Robles is probably untouchable. And if you trade him, you definitely have to keep Juan Soto, who I've seen also rumored in a couple of deals.
Yeah, I don't think Stevenson's untouchable, though. I think he's probably going to be the one that goes, depending on who they, if they get someone with a lot of team control. If it's a Colomé or an Osuna, I don't know how much more Ramos has in his thing. That's an in-division trade anyway. But yeah, I would think that Robles is. So they hung on to him all winter. Judo Joker says, Chris says the Phillies game was one of the ones that the balk was called against Romero. Judo Joker says the unfortunate thing that this, by Nats bullpen standards, was one of their better games. My goodness, he's right until the Suzuki homer. R.A. Dickey pitched a very good game tonight, though. Kind of unfortunate for him that he got charged with some unearned runs. Oh, my goodness, that was such a bad play. The Harper non-triple that Jace Beat absolutely butchered. But he deserved to win. Yeah, I mean, I talked about this in the preview of the series today. This was a big one. R.A. actually had the best ERA of any of the starters, thanks to the fact that that Tehran had been, hit hard his last few times out. The Braves got the win, and Dickey, I mean, they eventually worked him hard. The 14 pitch at bat from Rendon was something. But again, they can't get anything out of those things, that when they can't score enough to give their bullpen enough support.
Yeah, I thought R.A. Dickey had a good night, especially against Harper. His first 2 at-bats, it didn't look like he was seeing the ball very well. And his first at-bat, he went down, or he got up ahead in the count 3-0, and ended up striking out without even swinging the bat. And then his second at-bat, he was swinging, but he was just taking huge hacks and getting nothing but air.
Yeah. All right, as Drew mentioned earlier, the Mets beat the Los Angeles Angels 3-0. Mike Trout weekend in New York City. DeGrom pitched in that one, but the trainer came out in the 7th. Let's see. Elsewhere in the division, Miami is losing to Los Angeles in the first game of the Don Mattingly Bowl. In the top of the 4th inning, it's 3-0 Dodgers. Toronto and Baltimore are tied at 3 in the 10th as it rains. You must be raining where you are, right? Do you have some nasty storms tonight?
Yeah, the last couple of days it's been raining pretty hard.
We had 90 degrees yesterday and it was 60 degrees here today. Philly beat Pittsburgh 7-2 earlier tonight, and that was the other game in the division. So really no changes. It's the Nats by a wide margin by a lot of things. The Mets had stopped a 7-game losing streak tonight. Glad to see that the Angels could go and help with that. Certain members of certain co-editors' families are quite happy with that result tonight. We won't mention any names, though. All right.
Yeah, I saw Danny
go ahead.
Espinoza and Ben Revere actually killed the Nats in that game. They had bases loaded and no outs in the 7th inning, and Danny Espinoza came up to strike out, and then Ben Revere hit a weak line drive to short. So they killed the Nats last year, and they're still killing them out in L.A.
All right, minor league scoreboard. Lehigh Valley over Syracuse this evening, 3-2. Broadway with a loss. He goes to 0-1 with a 7.63 ERA. No home runs in that. Richmond down Harrisburg 10-7. Taylor with a win. Williams with a loss. Oh boy, 1-5 with an ERA of 6.89. Just look at these ERAs. 7.63 for Broadway in the loss. 6.89 for Williams for Harrisburg. It's like one of the guessing games, and the price is right.
Yeah, everyone's calling for help from the minors, but there's not a lot of great arms down in the minors.
What help is there?
Yeah, it's looking like some of the only help that the bullpen could potentially get is via the trade.
Victor Robles had a very good 20th birthday today. Potomac loses to Lynchburg 11-7, and Estevez takes a loss. His numbers are now 2-3 with a 5.13 ERA, but Robles with his 4th home run of the year. And it gets better. I know you haven't hit 20 yet. I remember 20. 20 was a long time ago for me. Robles on his 20th birthday. Try to top this one, Drew, in a couple of years. 4 for 5, 2 singles, a triple, a homer, and 3 RBI.
He's ready. Call him up.
10 RBIs for Potomac for him. They lost, but it was still that's quite a birthday present.
Yeah.
Austin Davidson went 2 for 5, and Kelvin Gutierrez went 2 for 4. In the effort, let's see. There is someone from the organization did win tonight. Hagerstown only scored 4. That's kind of a calm game for them. In fact, Lakewood held them to 4 hits in a 4-3 win. Sharp with the win goes to 2-2 with a 4.54 ERA. Peterson with the save, his 2nd. Franco with his 4th of the year, the lone homer tonight for Hagerstown, who now goes to 25-15 and certainly has the best record in the organization. Let's see. So tomorrow it's Mad Max against Big Sexy Bartolo Colon. Your thoughts?
I think it's always great to have Max on the mound, and so it should be he's definitely the right guy to go out there after this rough game tonight. And then Cologne is having a rough year in Atlanta, so should be a good game for the Nats tomorrow, but I guess we'll have to see.
Thought that would be the case tonight, even though Max will actually pitch with some authority and call some people some names, because Max does that. Yeah. I forgot to mention, I remember seeing this in the Tweety and didn't click on the box score. 3 Ks for Eric Fetty tonight in 2 innings in that AA game. A run and a hit. So better for Fetty tonight. Franco on fire for Hagerstown. A home runs in 3 straight games, and now RBIs in 4 straight. Chris goes through and says the saving grace for the Nats is the rest of the division has been horrible. They still have a big lead. I mean, you put this in an article earlier this week. The chances of the Nationals making the playoffs are still roughly 97%. You should not be all in a panic because they're playing Little League Baseball in May. I mentioned earlier tonight, Drew, that a lot of it is a case of you're just playing a lot of games right now that don't mean anything, and it just makes it stressful to try to stay competitive.
Yeah, this is definitely a playoff team, so I trust Rizzo. I know he didn't go out and make any moves this offseason for the bullpen, but I think he's definitely learned his lesson, and he'll get some help in the bullpen by the playoffs.
I would hope so. My goodness gracious. All right, Judo Joker says, let's hope Max rights the ship. Ricky asks, I guess, the exit question tonight. Over and under 110 pitches for Scherzer tomorrow.
I think under. I think coming off of that nasty knee injury he had, I think Dusty might want to be a little conservative with him.
We saw Gio go 116 tonight. I'm taking the over.
Yeah.
Just because you're not pulling Max out. I mean, if Max came out to pitch after taking one of a liner in the back of the knee for 100, he's going. He's going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he and Strasburg realize that if they don't do their jobs, there aren't any wins to get. So I'm going with the over. All right. Today we did obviously did the preview of the series. And we looked at the list of 6 potential closers that the Nationals are looking at. And one of those names on the list was Mark Melancon, which makes you want to say, well, if you hadn't lowballed him when you had the chance to sign him, maybe we wouldn't have this problem right now. But that's just me. Your thoughts on that?
I don't think Melancon makes a whole lot of sense for the Nets, because if they didn't want to pay him the $70 million, are they going to want to pay $70 million and give up a prospect or two for him now? I mean, I think maybe David Robertson would be a more realistic option, as much as Nats fans would like to see Melancon back on the team.
Well, the other thing with Melancon is you're not real clear on what the opt-outs are on his contract. I mean, there's 5.5 years currently on there, but are there 2 opt-outs? Are there 3? I mean, how much of Melancon are you paying for?
Yeah, you really don't know.
Yeah, you really don't know. Judah Joker says over 110. I'm feeling no hitter. Would you please kind of send a bottle of whatever it is that you're enjoying to the headquarters in Vermont? I promise I'll tell Drew it tastes bad. Although I think that every Mad Max start, knock on wood. Oh, my air conditioner kicked on. Yeah, I think it's over 110. And so tomorrow morning, Ricky Keeler will continue his profile of potential draft picks. I'll have something. I'm not sure what I'll be writing on yet, but I'll have something for tomorrow. Sunday, Drew will have his player of the week. And we promise someone will have kind of earned that, even though the team really hasn't earned that. So, all right. So tomorrow, as we said, it's Max and Bartolo at 4:10, not a national TV game. It's Masson. I will be on the Twitter, and Chris Lacey and I will be together. We hope sometime before 1 a.m. on Sunday. We're kind of thinking about 7:30 Saturday night to go through that. And hopefully, Max is the ace, and this will be the end of the losing streak right here. So that's the situation for tomorrow. Drew will be back sometime soon. For Ricky Keeler and the rest of the staff on District on Deck, I'm Ron Juckett. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday night.